Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Leo for July 2015. Go to my website, aspiritualspark.com, or click on the link below this video to see more about my personal live coaching. Also to see more about my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine, which is intended to help you bring your shine into the world and to navigate through the astrological transits like a spiritual ninja. And while you're there, sign up for my free email newsletter. Also, Shine is available on a sliding scale. Did I say that already? It's very exciting, so it's accessible to everyone. Okay, so what is going on in July? This is a very power-packed month for everyone, but especially for Leos. We have birthdays to talk about and all kinds of aspects involving Jupiter, which is still in your sign. It's not in your sign for that much longer, but there are some amazing lineups, a beautiful symphony of planetary aspects joining Jupiter that we need to talk about, and also some challenging things in the beginning or in the middle of the month. So let's do it. Okay, so first let's talk about birthdays. 4 weeks before your birthday, we have something. Well, first of all, happy birthday. Happy birthday to those of you who are July-born Leos. And if you're not a July-born Leo, then listen carefully to what I'm about to say, because this is coming for you and you want to have time to prepare for this. Birthday wishes are astrological. When the sun in the sky lines up with the sun in your chart, it opens a portal for your desires. The sun in the chart rules your desires. It rules what you want. So wishes are things that you want. And you have an open portal for your wishes to come true, more supercharged than any time of the year when it is your birthday. So you want to make your 10 birthday wishes. You want to say them out loud. You want to write them down. You want to get your wording right. You want to feel them as if they're coming true. You want to visualize them every day. In general, try to start with your birthday and do a 28-day moon cycle where every day you're visualizing what your wishes come true. The more you put into it, the more you will get out of it. And this is a powerful time to start this practice. So that is coming for you on your birthday, and you have time to prepare beforehand. What happens 4 weeks before your birthday, and you can calculate this for your specific birthday, and this is also true for your solar chart. So if you're watching for your rising sign, you will also have this manifestation. So 4 weeks before it hits the degree of whatever your rising sign is, you will start to have the sun in your solar 12th house. The sun is like a spotlight. We talk about the sun often. It's like this spotlight, and it shines a light wherever it is. And some places it makes things burn very bright, and that's really awesome. And some places, like the 12th house, it's like putting this huge floodlight in an attic that has been neglected for 150 years. What are you going to find in there? Do you really even want to know? Not necessarily, and that's part of why the 4 weeks before your birthday or before the sun crosses over your ascendant is challenging. If you get this funky thing that happens, you might notice, I studied astrology for a long time before I knew that this was going on. I would get weird. I would just notice that, like in the late fall, I would feel funky, or something weird would happen, or I'd have problems. And then by the time it was my birthday, things started clearing and it would be different. But now I understand that the spotlight is on your unconscious mind. It's on the attic of your experience. And things are being brought up that you don't really want to look at. But this beautifully prepares you for your birthday wishes and for the rebirth that happens at your birthday. It's set up perfectly like this. Divine Spirit has done this purposely so that you look at these things that are neglected and you dust them off. And maybe you find in that attic something that was your grandmother's that is worth $150,000, you know, and the equivalent of that in your emotional life, spiritual riches, mental riches. So this spotlight goes on. And so if you're feeling funky in this time, then know that this phase of the sun being there will pass. And then it turns into this energizing rebirth and putting all the things that you learned with that evaluation process into doing things new and doing things better. And you can base your wishes on the problems that you've found or the challenges. So let's talk about the aspects from the beginning of the month. We've got 2 full moons this month. We have a full moon in Capricorn, which Some of you are going to experience in your 6th house, so fullness, completion, fruition comes in the house of diet, in the house of health, in the house of pets, in the house of animals, in the house of your daily routine, your work life experience. And some of you are going to experience this full moon in your 5th house, which is the house of creativity, the house of children, yours and others, the house of romance, the house of hobbies, also the house of gambling or other vices. So some fullness, some fruition, some completion coming in that house. Now, in general, full moons can be a little bit emotional, and that's because all of the things that have been building up in our fields all month long, we get, I call it like the dog shaking off from the water. Like when the dog goes in the water, they shake, 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 and get all the water off of them and just fling water everywhere. I'm a dog person, that's why I think about that. But anyways, so this is, the full moon is like our shake, 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 shaking our emotional field clear. So there's always some kind of emotion with it, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing, and it doesn't have to be a bad drama. It can be something positive coming to fruition or completion. And this full moon has beautiful aspects with Neptune. The full moon we had in the beginning of June had challenging aspects to Neptune. So hidden things, confusion, not knowing what to do, kind of chaos is one of those taglines of Neptune in a challenging angle. But Neptune in a positive angle brings creativity and inspiration and beautiful escapes, functional escapes. So the chance of this being a positive thing is increased because of this, and also because we have so much else going on positive at this time. We have the second half of June into the first several days of July having this beautiful energy. One of the aspects that is a carryover from the end of June is this Jupiter trining Uranus. And Uranus and Jupiter have been activated really since last summer. They were in a loose trine, and then they got tighter, and then they got looser, and then at the end of June it got exact. So things coming out of the blue, creativity, happy surprises, expansion, coming from this beautiful aspect. So we've got, we'll start the story with when Jupiter went into Leo. You know, there's like, it's like a symphony. We start out with an instrument, then it's just beautiful, and it's doing its thing, and something's going on, and then another instrument gets added to it, and another instrument gets added to it. In the middle of the month, we have a cacophony, a blending of disharmonious planetary placements, and that is different. But when we have planets in these beautiful aspects, it's like a symphony. So when Jupiter went into your sign last summer, it started to spark up this rebirth. You earlier degree placements will have felt the benefits of Jupiter being there sooner than you later degree placements. If your birthday is really late in Leo, or your ascendant or your moon or whatever you're watching this for is in a late degree of Leo, you might have felt the energy coming and maybe some manifestations, but you might not have had your full glory with this yet. And some of you have more than one placement in Leo. The more placements you have in Leo, the more you've been having Jupiter effects. It's really good to know your chart. If you get a free chart run, just do a search for free birth chart and then get a symbol key to decipher the glyphs. And look at how many planets you have in Leo. Look at how many planets you have in Virgo, because that's where Jupiter's going next. The things that we talk about in the horoscopes are going to be flavored or added to by your personal chart. And the more planets you have in Leo, the more this is affecting you. And the longer it could affect you, because you could have earlier, middle, and late degree placements. So it's like as it's moving through these different phases, it's activating different planets in your natal chart. So anyway, the symphony started with Jupiter moving into Leo. Some of you experienced that early. Some of you are starting to feel that stronger now. Then when Uranus was making this trine, it's like activating this creativity, this things involving children, this things involving romance, fun, hobbies. And then now at the beginning of this month, we have Venus, which rules love and beauty and money and harmony, sitting right next to Jupiter. Most of you have this going on in your house of self. So some kind of expansion of yourself you've been undergoing a radical revolution in who you are and what you present into the world. Later degree placements, you still have this coming. This is just getting warmed up for you. But in any case, this aspect at the beginning of the month is just adding to this beautiful rebirth. And because Uranus is in the 9th house of teaching and learning and publishing and international connections and different countries and different languages and religion and spiritual studies, and creative solutions, Uranus is bringing this lightning force energy, just sparking your rebirth and possibly connecting you in with international audiences and bringing your work out on a bigger level. So I hope that that's happening for you. And this, for many of you, your earlier placements, you've got this really close to your 10th house cusp, which is your midheaven, which is a really important place in your chart for what you're doing in this world. Your career, your work, your life purpose, things involving your dads. And some of you will have mom here, but authority figures, a parent. New things, new rebirth, new healing. Then between July 2nd and 5th, we have Mercury coming in and making this favorable angle in the house of internet, in the house of social media. So internet stories, a group contact, an awesome networking possibility, something coming in and flavoring this rebirth process, this expansion of who you are and what you're presenting to the world. Then we start our dicey cacophony planets. So like we've got this beautiful symphony and everything's going well, and then all of a sudden in the distance, this awful sounding instrument comes in and it does not match with anything that we've been working with. And that is the Sun opposing Pluto. Pluto is this transformational source. It's like the nuclear generator, and it can blow everything up and make everything radioactive and poisonous and terrible, or it can fuel a whole nation. Pluto walks around with that power, and for many of you, this has been going on in your health sector, in your transformational things involving health and diet, transformational things involving pets and animals, transformational things involving your daily work routine. The rest of you still have this in your 5th house, so transformation happening with children, with creativity, with creative projects or romance or love affairs or hobbies or even some addictions could be in there too. Pluto is working as this powerhouse. So when the Sun comes in, it's having our life force kind of sucked out of us in some way and having our inner authority questioned by outer energies, or possibly something going on with our health or with our children or with something like that. So later on in the month, Mars and Mercury are going to come and make the same opposition. So this theme that started here is going to continue through the month. On July 8th and 13th, we have Mars and then Mercury making a beautiful aspect to Neptune. And most of you have Neptune in your 8th house. The rest of you will have Neptune in your 7th house, but both of these are partnership houses. So something inspirational and beautiful involving relationship. There's like a little sweet spot here to take a lakeside adventure with somebody, or something water related, something inspirational. I'm calling this also go into your studio month, because there's so much creative force, especially for Leos and people with placements in Leos. This is true for everyone, but so much creativity is surging through you. You want to have all your mediums out. You want to have your studio just like with your paints here, or your whatever you do, have it out and ready to be prolifically expressed. So we want to do that when the times are beautiful for the inspiration, and we want to do that in the times when things are challenging, because it's a wonderful outlet. So then on July 12th, we have the Sun come and square Uranus, and when Uranus is in an aspect like a square, it can bring surprises that are not happy. And there's this story, July 12th. Anytime I give you a date, remember that we're talking about the dates around that date too, not just that date, because sometimes the manifestations won't just be on that day. So then later on July 18th, we have Mercury then coming and making this challenging aspect to Uranus. So things that come out of the blue again. So we've got a lot of support coming in from the 11th house, groups, friends, internet, social media. But then we have some challenges coming in too. Then on July 15th, we have this new moon in Cancer, and most of you would be experiencing this new moon in your 12th house. Some of you would be experiencing it in your 11th house, some middle to later degree placements. But either way, this is opening this new possibility involving home and family, involving ancestry, involving 12th house matters like your deep unconscious mind, or 11th house matters like your friendships and your groups and networking. Also, 11th house is your house of big dreams, not the dreams you have at night, but the big dreams you have, new opportunities opening there. But we have all this baggage at this new moon, so we can't just like be happy with this new moon energy. We have all this mischief, and then we have Mercury and Mars coming and opposing Pluto. And this is happening for most of you in the house of your unconscious. So already having this sun in that 12th house with this spotlight just lighting up these challenges. Now Mercury, which rules all this energy, you know, of movement and expression and communication, and then Mars, which rules how you use your energy and more kind of assertive energy. This is going into your 12th house, lots of action in your 12th house. And when that happens, it can make people feel like they're going crazy. So you want to have an outlet. You want to do your creative things. You want to have a punching bag. You want to run. This is no time to be not taking your supplements or not exercising, because anything that's weak is going to be busted at the seams. This is a time, that's why I like to do these reports for you early, so that if you're a subscriber and you're paying attention right at the beginning when they come out, you can prepare for these times. If you know you're going to have a lot of weak links tested, you want to be taking your probiotics. Probiotics are what can help you not get sick when you're around sick people, because they're good bugs and they eat the bad bugs, and they keep the beneficial flora strong so that if something goes awry inside of you, it can eat them basically. You know, things like this you want to know beforehand. You're more, and I'm saying this specifically about getting sick because again, this pressure on your mental space, pressure on your emotional space, putting pressure on your physical body and your health, I think is really being called into question here. There's a lot of pressure on your body right now. So this can also be volatile. You know, Mars, very aggressive, opposing Pluto, the radioactive transformer. And we don't know what can happen there, but we want to try to lay low. We don't want to push the envelope. We don't want to antagonize people. We don't want to be put in a situation where we can be antagonized and make a choice that's not discerning. So now on July 21st through July 23rd, or the days around that, we have the Sun and Mercury conjunct. And this is making this beautiful aspect to Saturn. And this is a nice thing. So you might have some news involving home or something sweet involving family. Most of you are going to experience this aspect in your 4th house of home and family. Some of you, this will be a creative, children-related or romance or hobby-related thing. That'll be a smaller percentage of you. So just a little sweet spot here in the midst of the madness. Then we have Venus going retrograde. Venus goes retrograde, it rules love, beauty, money. All of those things go backwards. Rethinking relationships, reconsidering relationships, relationships coming back from the past, problems that are unresolved in love coming back from the past. Someone who is your beloved that was separated from you, they can come back. Maybe they've been away or they're in the military and they can come back during Venus retrograde. Venus retrograde is not just like every other retrograde. We're not pinning this as this is something bad. Anything that's been swept under the rug gets pulled up and everything is just kind of like swirling in the air. But that can bring wonderful things. You can have life breathed back into your relationship if that had been lost. You know, things that were lost in relationship can come back for better and worse. It's not a great time to make huge commitments in love and money if you can help it, because you're not seeing clearly, and that this energy that rules the love, beauty, and money is not going full bore. It's a great time to reconsider things, to think about things, to go back over things. But save your decision making if you can until at least after September 8th. July 25th through September 8th is the most active part of Venus retrograde. But we had the shadow period of Venus retrograde start June 22nd. And we have the shadow period of Venus retrograde continued through the end of September. So, you know, it's pending. You'll start to see it. If you're launching a business, please do everything that you can to launch your business by those first couple of days of July. If you've got a website developer or a team member or something that you're relying on from someone else saying, yeah, we're going to launch in mid-July, end of July, don't do it. Tell them they have to expedite it. Do what you have to do, pay extra money. You've got to have the birth of this new thing that you're working on be in sweet stars. You don't want to have it in the midst of this madness. You don't want to have it when Venus is retrograde. You don't want to open your business in Venus retrograde. Ways around this is that you can launch something maybe incomplete, but have its birthday be in this sweet spot and then spend Venus retrograde activating it. So like, let's say you're going to open a restaurant. See if you can have a soft open even before you're ready, or just like a meet and greet of a kind that you're like opening when the stars are great. And then you can be working on bringing things out in the Venus retrograde and not have your official opening. I have watched this happen time and time again. I did it first with a business of mine. I knew better, but I have Aries rising and I get impatient and I learn the hard way, right? So, but then I learn. But I've seen it. I've watched in towns that I've lived in, businesses that have opened, Venus in retrograde, awesome businesses I really hoped would stay in business within 18 months, sometimes less, they are closed. You've got to think about this because you don't want your business to be one of those. You don't want to lose a tremendous amount of money. You might need some individual consulting about this to try to get the specifics, you know, how it's gelling for you. But if you can expedite things, get it into the end of June, first couple of days of July, and then slowly bring out your updates to things. Okay, so then we have Uranus going retrograde in Aries, and this brings up all kinds of questions of freedom. What is free for me? What does freedom mean? And this is going to be very philosophical for everyone, but for Leos specifically, because this is retrograde in your 9th house of philosophy, like these big questions. What is freedom? Is freedom being in a relationship with one person? Can you have freedom in a relationship with one person? Do you need to be in an open relationship to have freedom? You know, what is marriage? Can you be free in marriage? Can you be free at a job? All of these big questions about freedom are coming up. And again, it's not really the time to make a huge decision unless things are just lining up and it's happening that way, but it's a time for reconsideration. Ultimately, I believe that all lack of freedom comes within us, comes from within us. I think everything comes from within us. So if you don't feel free in something, it's because you have a perspective that's locked in, that's either creating something that's really not free or making you think that it's not free and experience it as not free because of a block within yourself that you have to overcome. We can pin this on a relationship. We can pin this on a job. We can pin this on a circumstance and not take full responsibility for the origin within us. And that would be doing you a major disservice. Don't do that to yourself. Look for the origin within. So then July 31st, we have this full moon in Aquarius. You early degree placements are going to experience this in your 7th house. Fullness, possibly drama with Venus being in Leo. Completion, something happening within your relationship. So this is lining up. Venus goes into retrograde, then boom, this full moon in the relationship house. A lot of you are going to have a big relationship drama at this point. The rest of you are going to experience this full moon in your 6th house, something coming up to be dealt with your pets, something coming up with your health, something, an office drama, something in your day-to-day, something with your diet. So that's our month. If you would like to have a birthday reading, your birthday is one of the best times to have a reading because you can just really get a handle on the new energies and what you're going to create with all this positive energy. You can go to my website, aspiritualspark.com, and check out my live coaching session information, and you can move forward with scheduling through there. You can also look at my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine. It's available on a sliding scale. Again, it's a wonderful gift for yourself to work on those inner blocks that are stopping you from manifesting your greatest shine in the world, your sabotage, your boom and bust, your creation of something only to have it pulled out from under you. This inner sabotage, we got to work that out. The Shine program is intended to help with that. And while you're there, definitely sign up for my free email newsletter. When you're part of my community, which when you sign up for my free email newsletter, you become part of my community, you get special perks. And one of the perks you get is a written version of the upcoming transits into your inbox. I do a write-up every month beforehand, and you can see these things on paper, and you can have some of what I've said in a more concise form. So definitely do that, and I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Okay, bye.